The world of Game of Thrones showcases warriors and heroes of fantastic skills and abilities. Here we'll break down the top 10 greatest and most legendary swordsmen from both the novels and the current HBO series. The characters I'm going to mention are all in their prime. For all intents and purposes in this list, they're all at the peak of their sword fighting abilities. I'm Top 10 Girl, and without further ado, this is the top 10 greatest swordsmen from the world of Game of Thrones. Number 10 on the list is Syrio Forel. Syrio Forel was a master swordsman and a former First Sword of Braavos. Syrio was shown in the HBO series as one of Arya Stark's teachers in King's Landing. One skill that made Syrio Master of Death was his master of the water dance.
Now you are dead.
We see Syrio demonstrate his fighting abilities when he defeats armoured Lannister guards with nothing more than a wooden training sword. Our number 9 pick is the Smiling Knight. He was mentioned in A Storm of Swords and A Feast for Crows, but he has long been deceased during the timeline of the HBO series. In the books, the Smiling Knight was an infamous outlaw that was said to be both insane as well as extremely deadly with a sword. The Smiling Knight was so well renowned, Jaime Lannister was knighted just for holding the insane warrior off and not being killed. Number 8 goes to one of the Starks, but hold your horses, it's not Ned Stark. It's the ancestor of House Stark, Lord Cregan Stark. Lord Cregan is a character that is only found in the books. Little is known about Cregan Stark as a swordsman, but we do know he clashed swords against the legendary Dragonknight, Prince Aemon Targaryen. Oh there, he's Cregan Stark. He fought with Prince Aemon once, and the Dragonknight said he never faced a finer swordsman. Number 7 is a character only mentioned in the books, and that character, or knight should I say, goes by the name of Sir Gwayne Corbray. Sir Gwayne Corbray's claim to fame came during the Battle of Red Grassfield. During this battle, Sir Gwayne dueled with Daemon Blackfyre before he was finally defeated. Number 6, any Game of Thrones fan should know, that is the infamous Kingslayer, Sir Jaime Lannister. Jaime first started receiving recognition at the young youthful age of 13. While still a squire, the future Kingslayer was able to win his first melee tourney against much older and experienced knights. At the age of 15, Jaime was knighted after being able to hold his own against the Smiling Knight of the Kingswood Brotherhood. Just take a look at this quote from A Feast for Crows. It had been all that she could do to keep his blade at bay. He was weak from his imprisonment and chained at the wrists. No knight in the 7 kingdoms could have stood against him at his full strength, with no chains to hamper him. Jaime had done many wicked things, but the man could fight. Number 5, we saw briefly at the Tower of Joy during the HBO series. He's seen sharpening his sword at the beginning of the scene. Now there is some debate about whether it was actually Sir Gerald or Sir Oswell in the scene, as Sir Gerald should have been much older than the actor that portrayed him in the show. Jaime mentions 3 knights that he learned from during a conversation with Loras Tyrell, Osmond Kettleback and other knights. One of the knights he mentioned was the White Bull. As our next swordsman is only mentioned in the books, not much is known about this legendary knight. And though mystery surrounds him and his abilities, he still places firmly at number 4. That swordsman is the Dragonknight, Prince Aemon Targaryen. Prince Aemon has been referred to as the noblest knight who ever lived, and his skill with the sword is legendary throughout Westeros. Even over 100 years after his death, he's a popular figure among the highborn and the smallfolk in songs, stories and fables. He bore the Valyrian steel sword Dark Sister, previously wielded by Aegon the Conqueror's sister, King Visenya. We're now on top 3 in the list. The third most legendary swordsman for Game of Thrones goes to the Black Dragon, Daemon Blackfyre. Daemon was the first and greatest of the 5 Blackfyre pretenders. The Blackfyre pretenders were a series of claimants to the Iron Throne of the 7 Kingdoms. As a bastard of House Targaryen, Daemon bore the arms of House Targaryen with the collars reversed, a black 3-headed dragon on a red field. Thus, he became known as the Black Dragon. Daemon stood straight and proud, and his stomach was flat and hard as an oaken shield, and he could fight. With axe or lance or flail, he was as good as any knight I ever saw, but with a sword he was the warrior himself. When Prince Daemon had Blackfyre in his hand, there was not a man to equal him. Not Ulrich Dayne with Dawn, no, nor the Dragonknight with Dark Sister. Number 2 is the Barristan Selmy, also known as Barristan the Bold. In the A Song of Ice and Fire novels, Barristan Selmy is one of the most skilled and respected knights in the 7 Kingdoms. He started learning the art of combat as a small child and was taking part in tourneys while barely a teenager. He was made a member of the Kingsguard at the age of 23 and proved his valour in the War of the Nine Penny Kings, where he slew Merlys the Monstrous, the last of the Blackfyre pretenders, in combat on the Stepstones. Unfortunately in the show, we never get to see Sir Barristan in his prime, but he does demonstrate that even in his old age that he's still a force to be reckoned with. There is a scene in the show where Sir Barristan silences the room full of Kingsguard just by drawing his sword.
Even now I could cut through the five of you like carving a cake!
The greatest swordsman from the world of Game of Thrones is none other than Sir Arthur Dayne, the Sword of the Morning. The Sword of the Morning is a title House Dayne bestowed on the knight who bears the ancestral great sword Dawn. Only a knight of House Dayne who is deemed worthy can carry it. For these reasons, the Swords of the Morning are all famous throughout the Seven Kingdoms. If there is no Dane knight considered worthy, the title lies dormant. The last to bear the title was Sir Arthur Dayne, a famed knight of the Kingsguard. According to Caitlin Stark, Arthur was the deadliest of the 7 knights of Varys' second Targaryen's Kingsguard. Here are some quotes from the characters: Jaime Lannister and Ned Stark, as well as the author of the books, George R.R. Martin. I learned from Sir Arthur Dayne, the Sword of the Morning, who could have slain all 5 of you with his left hand while he was taking a piss with the right. The finest knight I ever saw was Sir Arthur Dayne, who fought with a blade called Dawn, forged from the heart of a fallen star. They called him the Sword of the Morning, and he would have killed me but for Howland Reed. If Arthur Dayne and Barristan Selmy fought with any swords, it would be a very even fight. But if Dayne was armed with his sword Dawn, he would narrowly have the advantage over Selmy. So this was our top 10 swordsman list. Who's your number 1 swordsman? Have we missed anyone? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell to receive notifications for future videos. Bye bye!